The flesh be talking.
The flesh be talking.
The flesh be talking. And I was like, oh, okay, I ain't gonna do it.
Yeah.
So then I waited and I waited. And then February 7th, I woke up, went out to lunch with a friend of mine, and she had told me, she said, Kerrie, how are you telling everybody that they should live a life of freedom and joy, but you over here still complaining about your job?
Mm.
You have a way out, but you ain't doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So got back to the house, typed up that letter of resignation, and I ain't looked back since.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Armand Lindsay back again with another episode of Big Boss Talk, the podcast. Listen, I got another top tier guest right here. If you're looking at the screen, if you're a listener, you're a viewer, whatever the case may be, just know this lady right here is top tier. And the reason why she's top tier is because obviously what she's doing in the real estate game and just her whole entire journey, but she was recommended by somebody. So when you recommended by somebody already thinks that you're just awesome, beloved, and they really think highly of you. And so shout out to Osei for recommending recommending this guest. And Osei was top tier, so I already know this is gonna be top tier. But let me get into the guest. All right, here we go. So I got Dr. Kerrie, age 35. All right, career job. She's a serial entrepreneur, realtor / investor, transformational speaker. College degree. She has a doctorate in education, transformational leadership. Okay, so years in the profession. She's been a realtor for 3 years, investor for 5, and she's been a speaker for 1 year. So she's new in some areas, but she's experienced in a lot of different areas, and she's experienced ups and downs in each and every last one of them. And I want to kind of get that information up out of her, what she's learned, what she likes, what she doesn't like. But listen, y'all give it up, and Dr. Kerrie, say what's up to the podcast.
What is up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Kerrie, and I'm super excited to be here. Armand, thank you so much for trusting me to come on your platform. And shout out to my girl, Osei, for recommending me. Everything that you said is so real. Recommending somebody really means something because we don't put our name on everybody. So yeah. I'm happy to be here, and I'm excited to get into this. Let's get it.
Let's get it. So listen, it wouldn't be Big Boss Talk, the podcast, without our traditional staple, and it's 2 truths and a lie. I'm pretty good at catching these lies, Dr. Kerrie. I ain't gonna lie. So I'm hoping you can kind of catch me on a little stump, but we're gonna see. So let me hear those 3 statements.
All right, so let's get into it. So I got 3 middle names. My favorite color is black, and I ride a motorcycle.
Okay. 3 middle names. Favorite color is black, and you ride a motorcycle. Mm-hmm. Dr. Kerrie, riding a motorcycle does not. I can't put that past you. You seem like you're very adventurous. You and your spouse. I followed the page and looked on Instagram. I was like, man, they look like they do a lot. They travel a lot. So I'm like, riding a motorcycle doesn't surprise me. What I'm stumped on is 3 middle names, and then the second one was the favorite color is black. Favorite color. Now you got on a black hat, black and white in the shirt. I don't know if that was intentional. I'm gonna go with. So listen, I'm gonna say that the lie is the 3 middle names. I feel like, I don't think. I just think that would be the lie. But
no. Nope. I ride a motorcycle. I have 3 middle names, and my favorite color is pink. I just wore black today.
You know what's crazy? What's crazy is I looked at the aesthetics of the Instagram page is definitely pink, and I was like, but I saw the black hat, and then I was like, man, maybe she throwing me off or something. So okay, you got me. You got me. You got me.
Y'all hear that? I got him. Let's go.
Okay, so listen. As far as like the 3 middle names, you don't have to give us all the names, but if you want to, you can. But do they mean something? Like, why 3 middle names?
Ooh, so my mom I have 2 sisters, all right? And so we all have multiple middle names, okay?
Yeah.
So mine is Shane Rose Ella. So it's Kerrie Shane Rose Ella.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. That's
And
what's
my
up.
sisters have several middle names. I mean, it's crazy. So my dad's nickname is Shane. So
Okay.
that's where that comes from. I had a great grandmother named Rose and Ella. So that's where they come from. So my
Awesome.
mom was like, I'm gonna throw all these names in here. She thought I was gonna be the last one, and then I got a younger sister. So yeah.
Yep. You know how moms do. They're gonna put it all in there. They're gonna make sure it's all in the pot. So that's what's up. Shout out to moms for creating a wonderful name. It's unique. And then talk to me about motorcycle, riding a motorcycle. Okay, listen, when did you learn how to ride the motorcycle? And do you ride currently, like to this day? Like, do you got a bike or what is that?
Absolutely. So I got my license in 2011 and
Okay.
got my first motorcycle, and I still have a motorcycle to this day. It's parked in the garage. I don't ride it all the time,
Okay.
but yeah, I still got it. I still know how to get on it, and yeah, that's
Yes.
it.
You're not popping. You're not popping wheelies out there, are you?
No, I ain't doing none of that. I ain't doing none of that.
Listen,
No.
I didn't know. I didn't know if you was a rough rider, popping the wheelies out there. You know, you got to be careful, man. But thank you for that. I appreciate you playing two truths and a lie, with us. I got four quick questions. All right, this is just kind of the questions to get to know you, get a little bit of understanding. My first question is, how did you get into hats? I see that you wear a lot of hats. You got a plethora of just variety. What got you into hats?
So I always watched as other people and I'm like, dang, I really want to start wearing like fedoras,
Yeah.
right? And so I got styled for one of my events and my stylist was like, hey, go to Target, get you this fedora and just rock it. And then ever since then I looked at myself like, oh, I could rock a hat.
Yeah.
And then I just started just getting multiple. I got brown hats, black hats, green hats, yellow, pink. I mean, literally a plethora of hats, and it's just that's just who I am, and I just added to different outfits. So
Yeah,
it's like
man.
my little stamp. Like if you know Dr. Kerrie's coming, you know she's gonna be wearing a hat.
Yeah, and that's how I kind of looked at it. I was like, maybe that's like one of her stamps. Like, everybody has that certain thing about them. Like, whatever the case may be, whether they're an accessories type person, whether they're glasses, whether they're shoes, whether like shirts, just different things. And I saw the hat, and I was like, I gotta ask her about this hat because I see she wears them all. And like, if that's your staple, then I already know. Like, I need to be making sure if Dr. Carey's on board, she gonna have that fedora on.
Absolutely.
Got it. So now what I was gonna ask this question. So like what was the last book that you read and why?
Ooh, okay. So the last book that I just finished was called Identity Switch
Mm,
by April Mason. And I call her Mama Mason. A lot of people say Auntie April Mason, but it was forwarded by Rick Ross.
okay.
So she used to have like a dating academy or whatnot. And actually, I think she still has a dating academy. It's just all on the app.
Gotcha.
But she helps women truly learn how to sit in their femininity so
Mm,
they can be the woman that they were really called to be. So whether that's with friendships, with money, with their style, their self-care, with their man, and being able to be the woman they need to be first
mhm.
before they find the man that they are called to be with, so
Yeah.
they can be ready and lift them up at the same time. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. So I always ask because I'm always looking for different books. Obviously, I'm not a female, so I don't know if that one would be for me. But I love that. It's just awesome to see people like reading different books and just because I know I was taught pretty early is like you can't pour into others unless you pour into yourself, and so you
Hey,
kind of have to wherever you getting that information from, whether it's your source, whether it's the creator, God. I know a
yeah.
lot of people whatever you believe in, but you just got to be pouring into yourself to be able to pour into others. And so I think that's super important. What are your rules for traveling? Like, if people travel with you, like, this is the rule. Like, because it's different rules when people travel. So I know people that's like, we got to have a nap no
Okay.
matter what. I know there's people that we got to go, go, go. We squeezing everything we can in this trip.
Uh-huh.
There's no budget. That like we gonna eat food. It doesn't matter. So like, what's your rules and like
Ooh.
that you kind of live by when you travel?
Man, okay, so one, I love to travel. I've been all over the world. My one rule, if I'm gonna travel with somebody, do not come without money. Like, do not come on this trip talking about I ain't got no money, because we gonna go zip line. We gonna go have some drinks. We
Yeah.
probably gonna stay at a resort. We gonna go get massages. Like, don't come on this trip talking about I ain't got no money, because I'm the wrong person to travel with. We gonna spend some money on vacation, okay? I work hard for my money. If I'm traveling, we gonna have a good time. So we gonna do a lot of different things. We gonna relax. We gonna hang out at the beach. But broke folks, I'm sorry, y'all. You can't come with me on a trip. If you on a budget, you can't come with me. Like, nah, well, you gotta have some money when you come with me.
Hey,
so
listen,
that's my one rule.
Y'all hear it now. Y'all gotta make sure your pockets is ready. If you gonna travel with Dr. Kerrie, make sure your pockets is ready. I like it. I like it. I don't really know what. I don't know what my rule is right now. I know me and my wife's rule is. Well, her rule is she gotta have like some type of nap. Like, she's not a like go. Like, we can go, but at some point we got to take a nap to rejuvenate for later that evening, that night, whatever the case may be. And I'm kind of adopting that rule because I understand how necessary a nap can be, especially when you traveling with a group of people. So that is awesome.
Absolutely.
And then my last question is just, what's one thing people don't know about you? You know, maybe something, a hobby that you have, something that you do that people just don't know.
I think, okay, so a lot of people assume this about me. They assume that I'm really busy. And I always like to tell people that I'm not busy. I'm productively living my best life. And I say that because I don't work, even though I have a lot of things that I'm doing, I ain't working no 40 hours a week. I might not even work no 35 hours a week. Sometimes I'm literally sitting downstairs watching Netflix. Like, right before this podcast, before I got together, I was watching TV. I was watching a movie.
Got to.
And I was done with my day. But I had clients to meet with today. I had a listing to get done. But I don't try to overwhelm myself. The reason why I walked away from my full-time job last year was so I could have time. I can have freedom. I can have peace. And working all them hours, it was stressful for me. So I balance a lot. I'm really good at delegating things to my assistant, so that I don't have to literally kill myself to try to get this life that I'm working towards. So a lot of people are like, oh, I know you're busy. They'll text, I know you're busy, or hey, you're, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll get to you when
what
I
you
can.
What do you need? Because I'm really not that busy, but a lot of people see my stories, or they'll see stuff on social media and they'll equivalent that with busyness. But I'm able to do a lot of different things that a lot of people can't do because they don't know how to balance. They don't know how to get into a good flow. So that's something I would say I wish people would stop telling me, like, I know you're busy. I'm really not. I'm just productively living my best life.
I love it. Productively living my best life. I mean, now we about to go into the real conversation, but you hit on something that I honestly didn't know. I don't know if I just missed it or whatever the case may be, but you said you left your full-time job last year.
Sure did.
A lot of people, like, even myself, like, at some point I know I'm going to let go of a full-time job and go into this career or go into this, podcasting, and I also have a few things on the side that I'm gonna go full into eventually. But at some point, like right now, when I think about it, I'm like, I'm scared. You know what I mean? And I know, like, I hear it all the time. Like, don't be scared. Like, but I think
that's easy to say.
Right, it's easy to say, but it's like you gotta be smart about it. At the same time, you also gotta understand, like, you got one life to live, and it's like you gotta either it's now or never. So how did you prepare yourself for that transition, and what was your emotion like when you actually finally sent in that resignation letter?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I was always that friend that didn't have a side hustle. All my friends were either doing hair, singing, had hair companies, X, Y, and Z, right? And I was always that friend that just focused on either teaching or being an assistant principal. That's all I did. Gotcha. And then I was like, I need a side hustle because it was a lot of stuff going on at that 9 to 5, a lot of stress, a lot of politics, and they didn't treat me the way I need to be treated, right? I was undervalued, not appreciated. And so I started working on my exit plan. back in 2017 when I started flipping houses, right? Then I got into real estate because I had a realtor that gave us some bad advice. We went to a lot of debt because of that. Ooh. I said, never again. I'm never going to put my money or my future in the hands of somebody else. So I got my real estate license in between getting my PhD, and it's been all uphill from there. And so I worked real estate, did that, saved up money, paid off my car and a couple other things. And then I said, December 31st of 2020, I'm going to walk away from my job. But the flesh be talking.
The flesh be talking.
The flesh be talking. And I was like, oh, okay, I ain't going to do it. Yeah. So then I waited. And then February 7th, I woke up, went out to lunch with a friend of mine. And she had told me, she said, Kerrie, how are you telling everybody that they should live a life of freedom and joy, but you over here still complaining about your job? You have a way out, but you ain't doing it, right? So got back to the house, typed up that letter of resignation, and I ain't looked back since. So
that's crazy.
I don't know if I really prepared, because that was just literally just waking up.
Yeah.
But I had it wrote down that I was going to leave in December, and to this day, God has continued to bless me with real estate, with investing, with speaking, that I'm good. I'm good.
Man, that is awesome. Like, I mean, it's wonderful to hear. I'm telling you, like you said, the flesh be talking, and it's just like, I know, like, it's certain things, but, you know, obviously to the viewers and listeners, like, you know, if this is the type, if that's what you aspire for, that's what you want, at some point you will have to say, all right, this is it. You know what I mean? And you have to kind of bet on yourself every time. And there's nothing wrong with betting on yourself. I think you should bet on yourself any and every day. Just like you said, I would never put my money or my situation in the hands of somebody else. So you bet it on yourself and became, you know, got your real estate license, said, I'm going to put this in my own hands and, you know, conjure my own outcome. So that's awesome to hear. But before we go any further, I had to ask about that. But before we go any further, what did young Dr. Kerrie want to be? Like, what was your dreams and aspirations? Did you grow up? Did you know, like, this is what I wanted to do? Like, real estate? Well, I don't, you know, you said you never had a side hustle, so I don't know if this real estate was really what you wanted to do, but what did you want to be growing up?
Yeah, so when I was growing up, I knew I wanted to be a teacher and a coach. Like, I knew that. And that's where I went. That's what I did. I also thought I was going to go to the WNBA and play basketball, because I did that. Like, I played college basketball, but I ended up doing that. But then it was just something different. I was like, it has to be something different for me. And that's when real estate came and completely changed my life. So, but I did always want to be a teacher and a coach, and I did become that.
And it came. So that's awesome. So then we go from, we wanted to be, you know, obviously teacher, coach. At some point we did, you know, worked our way up. It looks a little different, but we are where we thought we would be. Your journey as going into college, you know, you told me you played college basketball. How good were you? Nice.
I feel like I was pretty good. I mean, I played college basketball. I played a little semi-pro as well. I mean,
you was balling.
Definitely above average.
You was balling. Let me find
above
out.
Average.
Okay. So, how did you choose your college of choice? Because you know, we have a lot of viewers that are in college, going to college, and I always like to ask people, you know, how did you find your school or your best fit, you know, for those 4 years? Because, you know, believe it or not, those are some of the best years of your life. You learn so much. I wouldn't say necessarily the schooling part, but just the network, the relationships, and the friends you kind of build in that stage of your life is pivotal to your I think sometimes to your growth. So how did you pick, you know, what school did you actually go to, and then how did you pick, and what was your experience like?
Man, so I feel like my experience was a little different. Like, I was so focused on like playing basketball, right? And my coach didn't help at all. So my mom actually helped me out a lot, try to find different schools. I actually wanted to go to PV. When I went there, my cousin was like, hey, you want to come on a college tour or a college visit? And I was like, yeah, let's go. And I went there and I was like, forget basketball. I just want to go to PV. I want to go because I want to be around my people. Yeah. I grew up in a small white town, so I wasn't used to seeing all of us. But little, that didn't happen. I ended up going to Kerrville, which was this small little school, and playing basketball there, then transferring to Concordia here in Austin, Texas
Okay.
in 2007, and played, for the last, I had to do 3 years because I tore my ACL and got a medical red shirt. But college was different for me. I don't feel like I made a lot of connections in college. A lot of the connections that I have now have been because I've been an adult and I've been networking and meeting different people. So
Yeah.
my experience in college was still great. I enjoyed playing basketball. I enjoyed the people I was around at that time, but I didn't really make any lifelong connections from college. So my experience is just a little different.
So how does that, because a lot of people I do talk to, they talk about the relationships and friendships that they made through college. And those are some of those same relationships that they may call upon. They might have not have been the best friends or whatsoever, but later down the line, maybe they ran into somebody and like, hey, they went into business together, they did this together, and that was just college. You had that common connection with. We went to the same school, we had the same pain, the same issues, but you said like you probably didn't make those connections in college, but later in your adult life. And I think now a lot of people have hard times making more connections in their adult life than they did in college. So like, what was the with networking? How did you become so how did you become good at networking? Was it a challenge, or did you just always have that outgoing personality?
I feel like I've always had an outgoing personality, but what changed for me is me. I have been on this journey of self improvement, of self growth, and becoming the person that God created me to be.
Yeah.
And so through doing that work, it was a lot of healing. It was a lot of transformation, and that's what made me into the Dr. Kerrie that everybody knows now. So who I was before, I was this young woman that was hurt, and just not the person that I needed to be. So I think that's what really hindered a lot of my relationships. But now that I'm a different person, I'm better now. I can go into a room, I can talk to people, I can walk up, hey, I'm Dr. Kerrie, and just have a whole conversation because I'm a better person and I see people differently too. That was another thing. I used to be really judgmental, and now I'm like, I love everybody, no matter who you are, whatever you got going on. I want to help, I want to serve, and I want to build real relationships. So I had to change first.
That's awesome. Making changes like that is like an ongoing thing. Like it doesn't change overnight, right? When you are a certain way for such a long time, and then you have that realization, like, oh, I got to make some changes. I got to self improve. Like even myself, like I've been on it. Like people just think like they look at you from the outside and they feel like, oh, they got it all together, put together, but it wasn't you probably don't even know the half of the journey that you had to go through to work on those changes, to work on the changing people's views of you. The hardest thing to do is change somebody's view of you, especially if they knew you before your change. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, I hear you.
So it's like how do how did you work on, because there's people that go through this same situation. I was talking to Osei and she was like, I did a complete 180, and she was like, it's hard to go back home and be who I am now because people only remember the Osei in high school or the Osei in middle school. So for you, how did you change? Or guess what was your mindset on like, how do I change people's perception of me? Or you didn't even worry about other people? It was just, I know I'm doing the work. Is that?
Yeah. No. I love that. I'm I'm that type of person that I don't care. I don't care what you think about me. I don't care what you say about me. I'm going to be me. And this is my life.
Yeah.
This is the life that God gave me. This is a journey that He put me on. And it's not up to you. Like, you can judge me all you want. You can remember me from the person I was in middle school or high school or college. Mm-hmm. That's on you. But if you want to get to know the new Dr. Kerrie or the new just Kerrie in general, yep, I welcome that. And I welcome you to do that. But if not, you can kick rocks. And I'm not saying that to be boastful or anything, but literally you can kick rocks because I'm a different person. I know that. And if you want to get to know the new me, come on, let's do it. Let's build, let's grow. Yeah. But if not, like if you're still harboring whatever feelings you had, I can't do anything for you. All I can do is I can say I'm sorry. And I did that too. Yeah. Years ago, I apologized to people that I might have hurt or rubbed the wrong way. Wow. That was part of my healing journey.
Yeah.
and it's up to them to receive. You just got to do your part. But I'm definitely one of those people. I don't care about what people say about me. I love you regardless because God loves me, and that's just how I live my life. So
That's beautiful.
yeah.
That's beautiful. I think that's should be the mantra for a lot of people. Just kind of live your life how you feel is necessary. As long as you're on the journey to self improve, like it's ongoing. Sometimes you may have a few relapses. It's just you gotta keep moving, keep going forward, and just understand that you're working towards a bigger purpose and a higher power. And I think that's one of the most important things that you got to kind of remember, right? Because we all have bad days, we all have good days. It's just kind of compile those good days and remembering, like, okay, this is what I did on this good day. I need to
Yep.
continue to do that, build that routine. So that's awesome to hear you say. And I think a lot of people become set free based off of stop worrying about how people look at you. You know what I mean? And if they don't want to look at you as the new you, then that's on them. You know what I mean? You got to kind of
That really is.
let that energy go. You can't bring that energy back into your life, and you kind of just got to do where the chips fall and be on your way. So, what
Yeah.
are
And
some?
I
Oh,
just
go
want to,
ahead. Go
can I
ahead.
just add something to
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
When I gave myself a clean slate, when I forgave myself for everything, when I became a different person, I'm giving other people to do the same for themselves, right?
yeah,
And then even with me. And so I think a lot of people live their lives focused on social media and the perception that people have of them, and they can't move forward because of that. So whoever is out there, if you're listening, do whatever work you need to do on yourself so that you don't have to worry about what your mom thinks or what your friends think or what your haters are thinking. You got to focus on you and live your best life and do what you were really called to do, because if not, it's going to be a constant distraction and it's going to constantly hold you back.
yeah.
So
Constant
I want
battle.
to say that.
I appreciate that. Good, good. The words of wisdom. I really do appreciate that. So, we're gonna push the conversation forward, right? So we know you're in the real estate. All right. So, what's some of the biggest misconceptions about being a realtor or getting into real estate in general? Like, what's some things that people say and you like that's not true, like or people are scared, like people love to say like I want to get in real estate, I want to get in real estate, but we are scared, like you say, the
Yeah.
flesh be talking. So it's like, what are some of those misconceptions? I'm gonna use that every time, like, flesh be talking.
Talking, man. Oh man, I would definitely say a couple things would be, all you need is a high school diploma to be a realtor. That's one. You don't need to go to college and get any degrees to be a realtor, or to be an investor. You don't need that either. I would also say that you got to work hard. You ain't just gonna come in here and just think you got to get a million listings and
Yeah.
sell $1 million homes and all of that. Like TV, Netflix, and all these series now.
Selling
Like,
sunset. Hey, I wish I
selling
could
sunset.
listen. I wish I could sell $120 million house, 3% commission. Man, listen.
Come on. Me too. But it's not realistic. Real estate is really about building relationships.
Got it.
It's about getting you a solid database of people, marketing yourself, and getting out there. And I'm talking about getting out there, getting on the phone. Some people do door knocking and cold calling and stuff. I don't do all of that.
Yeah.
I built a really good business just off of my relationships and my connecting with networking. But y'all, it's hard work.
Yeah.
It is hard work. You're gonna go sometimes maybe a month or two without a commission check. That just happens. But when it hit, it hit. Okay.
Hey,
There is money to be made. I'm telling you right now, it is good money, and you can build a lot of wealth with real estate, whether you're a realtor or an investor or like me, both. So yeah, just a high school diploma to get started and just work.
Yeah.
Let everybody know this is what I'm doing now. Send me your people and build solid lifelong relationships. If I'm not getting invited to a baby shower, I'm not getting invited to a wedding, I didn't do my job. I didn't do my job.
That's
So
a good way to
that's
look
how
at
I
it.
look
Like
at it.
that's a good measuring stick, because obviously when you make these connections, like everybody wants to bring their realtor, like their friends, people that they meet in passing, like what I'm saying, like to those invitations. And so that's a good measuring stick, because that is now like everyone's network is huge. You know what I mean? Like every person you meet, they know a set of 500 to maybe 1,000 people that you don't know.
Yeah.
And just because you gave them that card, that phone number, they could be like, hey, this is my friend. They do this. You know, and the power of networking is crazy when you really think about it. Like I'm surprised sometimes by like just the network. Like this whole entire show is based off networking. It started obviously with my inner circle, but then it branched out into so many different areas and states. And I look at real estate as the same. And I think you hit on a good point where people have to understand once you get into this game, you have to put in the work. Like if it nothing is as easy as it looks. Nope. You know, anything worth having, like that statement is totally true. Anything worth having, it comes with a lot. It comes with a lot with it. And I think when you're in your position, or when you say I'm going full time, it brings you. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, am I willing to get up every day and put my grind hat on? Like you gotta, you gotta put these hats on
every day, every day. Y'all see this fedora? Every day I gotta get up and I gotta do something, like whether it's a phone call, whether it's getting on my computer, whether it's going to an event. I have to do some sort of income producing activity, right? I have to, because if not, who gonna pay these bills? Like, yes, I got a loving husband. He ain't paying all these bills. he knows. I need your help.
Yeah. I need you.
I can't go without money. So I gotta work. And when I took that leap of faith, I knew that.
Yeah.
I was like, but I believed enough in myself.
Yep.
So if you believe enough in yourself, take that leap of faith and go for it. But do the work.
Yep. That's good pressure. It can be pressure, but it's sometimes you gotta, depending on who you are, you make it good pressure, where it forms a diamond. Sometimes bad pressure where it may bust a pipe. And I'm in sales, so every day is like you got to do something like you said, conducive to making sure your business is constantly growing. Make sure the funnel is fulfilled and looking right. So I understand every day you'll grind a little bit. I know it's a little different as far as on the home front. So what are some tips to help people prepare to be homeowners? I think what's funny is you live in Austin. So we lived in Austin for a year, almost 2 years. And I lived in Georgetown.
Oh, you was in and out.
I lived in Georgetown. Now I'm in Houston. And me and my wife go back and forth every day. I say, I miss Austin because it's different. Like, I can't even explain it, but it's different. And I know it's not a lot of us sometimes out there, but it's different. Like the things you can do, the environment, you don't always have to feel like you got to dress up all the time and be on your best. You can go.
Not at all.
Everybody out there with dogs running around, food trucks, rainy street is crazy. I mean,
being at the lake, like it's crazy. A nice place to live. I love it.
And I brought that up just because I know Austin real estate is booming. Like to get in Austin, man, them tickets, the prices on them homes are going crazy. So
don't come to Austin if you ain't got no money. Like if you come and travel with me, if you ain't got no money, don't come to Austin either. If you ain't got no money.
Hey, them people coming
because you ain't gonna find nowhere to live.
Them boys coming from out west and they saying, listen, we're gonna put down this 500,000, we going 200, 300 above asking price to get into these areas in Austin. So what are some tips? And this doesn't have to be within Austin, but it's a lot of people that I want to help as far as like, what are some tips to help people prepare to get a home? Because we just started getting into this kind of grind of getting ourselves a home. And when I tell you, it's overwhelming when you've never done it before and they ask you for everything but your blood type. What are some tips? What do you tell people? How can we help some people?
Yeah, definitely. So the main things that I always like to educate people on is credit score.
Okay.
Credit is just major. So if you can at least be at like a 620 or higher, especially if you're a first-time homeowner, you can qualify for down payment assistance, which means like either they'll pay all of your down payment or a portion of it.
Yep.
All right. So that's less money you have to come to the table with. Another thing is just making sure that you have a trusted agent. There's a lot of agents out here. I mean, so many people are trying to get their license. You need to interview people.
Yeah.
Interview as many agents as you can and make sure you can build a real relationship with them, right?
Yep.
And get to know them. Not someone that's just chasing a commission check, because there's a lot of people out here that are doing that and are not really for you. Another thing I would definitely say is debt to income ratio. is big. It needs to be at least 45% or lower.
Yep.
And basically what that means is your debt. How much do you owe to for credit card, your car loans, whatever it may be, to how much you're making. If you are making less than your debt, you're not going to get qualified, all right, until you pay off some of that debt. So you need to make sure that your car payments, pay those off or get them as low as possible. If you have any other credit cards, try to pay those off because people look at that. And that's how you increase your buying power. The less debt you have, the more home you can get. The better credit score you have, the better programs that you're going to be able to qualify for. So those are definitely some of my tips. Interview realtors, credit score, and debt to income ratio.
That's awesome. So if we're interviewing like the realtors, right? What are some questions that? How do we know that we got a good realtor? Like, is it just based off a vibe, or like? I mean, obviously it's a vibe. It's a, you got to understand that you could trust. But like, is there certain questions you might ask or to vet somebody out?
Absolutely. So, say you're interviewing somebody for the Austin market, right? So you need to ask them, like, are you buyer heavy or are you listing heavy? Because if you're a buyer and you're interviewing a listing agent, they're more likely to know more about listing than to help your buyers out. So they might not be up to date on all the different programs. So that's a really big question. You also want to ask them, what's your concierge service? So like our brokerage pays for our staging consultations and pictures and other stuff, right? So there's just different questions that you can ask people to really get to know them. How many deals have you done this year? What areas do you really work with or you have knowledge in? I mean, it's just so many.
I appreciate
It's
it.
so many
I
to
just
ask.
needed a couple to give people an idea of like, what you can go into the ask. I know it's so many questions you could really ask because the market home buying looks different for everyone, because everyone's situation is different. I learned that in the first couple of meetings that we've had with our realtor, just understanding like, hey, this may look good for you, this may not. You've got this, you don't have this, right? So it's just certain things that fits. But I think it comes down to my next question is I've obviously been on the page, kind of looked around. I know you offer a course, right, or some type of ebook that you have. Why? Because I know a lot of people are going to probably want to be like, if they're interested, they might go in and check it out. But it's just why your course, and what can they learn by going to that link tree on your page and getting that course.
Yeah, so on my link tree on either Facebook or Instagram, I have access to my YouTube page, access to my podcast, which the More Than the Bag podcast. I also have Airbnb and flipping houses replays available. I have an Airbnb ebook, and this is just information that can get you into the Airbnb business if you're interested in doing that, or teaching you how to flip a house from start to finish. That's all in there, and I have all those in my link tree. So yeah, if you need help with that, I also have a 30-day vision workbook. So if you are a young woman, or just a woman in general, and you need help with self-care and getting a routine together, I have a workbook that's on Amazon as well. That click the link in my bio, and you can go to that. So yeah.
That's awesome. So then, what is what is your kind of process when you go into, like, if you're going into a situation where you're trying to flip a home? What is how does someone, a couple of things, and it doesn't have to be everything, but just how can people get into flipping homes, and understanding what to look out for in that space as well too?
Ooh, you trying to hit me with some stuff, y'all. Because it's a lot, but I'm gonna give you a couple tips.
Okay.
Definitely get you either a realtor or a wholesaler that will help you find properties. That's number one. Understand what ARV is, after rental value, before you put any down payment down, because you need to know how much you're gonna spend on the house, how much on rehab, and then how much you can sell it for, because you got to make sure you make a profit. Interview contractors, just like you interview an agent. Interview a contractor. I've been burned by some contractors.
Wow.
And you can't just watch HGTV and think you're gonna know what you're doing. Okay, can I just throw that out there? Like, don't sit in front of TV and think that you're gonna watch HGTV, sorry, and think that you're just about to be killing the flipping game. Okay. Right. Interview contractors, make sure they can meet you at the house before you even, want to buy it just so they can go through and give you a real rehab estimate. And then there's a lot of other things that go along with that, but that's definitely will help you out for sure.
Appreciate it. Those are solid tips. So obviously, guys, listen, if you're into real estate, you're into Airbnb, you're into flipping homes, you want to get into this this industry, there's resources out there, right? We talked about it. You gotta pay to play sometimes. If you want the information, you gotta dive into real credible resources that have done the work, got the results, and just really tap in with Dr. Kerrie, and I'm more than sure that she's going to lead you into the right direction. So going into your, transformational speaker, right? I know we're coming to the tail end of the conversation. I wanted to hit on this for sure. Transformational speaker. Can you explain to me, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So everybody calls themselves a motivational speaker, right? Mm-hmm. But a transformational speaker is someone that can come into the room or get on the stage or whatnot and get you to start moving, right? Mm-hmm. To get you to start thinking differently, to get you to truly have some sort of transformation within your heart, so that when you walk out the door, you got your notes, you got everything, and you know what you need to do in order to become the best person that you're supposed to be. So motivation is, I'm gonna get you pumped up, right?
Right.
But transformation is, I'm gonna get you to change.
Yes, I love it. I love it. So what made you get into that? Like, was it a calling for you? Was it something that you always wanted to do? Because for some people, they really have it on their heart. They feel like, I'm a motivational speaker, or I'm a transformational speaker, and I feel like I can step into these rooms. Was there a situation, or was that just a feeling that you had, like, I know I can do this?
Yeah, definitely not something that I ever thought I was going to do or really even get into. But sometimes God will put you in positions and show you that this is a gift and you need to move forward with it. So, like, I felt like just a few years ago, like, I should be a speaker. Like, I was doing videos and people were like really, really getting inspired by the stuff that I was saying. I got invited to be a keynote speaker for the very first time in November of last year. And as I was going through, there was no nerves or anything, right?
Yeah.
And it was flowing. And then by the end of it, and I'll just say this because I really don't even know how this happened, but literally I ushered in the Holy Spirit. Like, women were worshiping and praying and crying, and it was eye-opening for me. Like, I didn't realize everything I was doing. I walked out the room just so once I was done, just to catch my breath. And then I came back in, and then at the end, I had a line of women coming up like, thank you so much for sharing your story. Can I take a picture with you? And that was like the birth of this transformational speaking gift. And now I speak to teams, and I have an event coming up. So it's different, but it was nothing I asked for, because I do not want to be up in front with a microphone. Okay?
Yeah.
But I have grown in that, and I have more confidence. So now you give me a microphone, ain't no telling what I'm gonna say. Just right now, like, ain't no telling.
Ain't no telling. Ain't no telling. I said, this is the female ET right here. I saw one of your videos, and I was like, everybody was getting pumped. I was like, the music was back there. I was like, oh man, she talking. So I was like, okay.
ET's my guy. I actually did a shadow day with him, where I went with him to one of his events, and I was backstage and everything. And that was a moment that really was life-changing for me. I was like, ET is the number one motivational speaker in the world, right?
Yeah.
I want to be better than ET, right? I want to be better than ET, but I want to be the female version of like an ET and a Sarah Jakes, like in between, right? That's how I see myself, but we gonna get there. But ET,
listen, I see it, but ET is, I said, this is the female ET, and then I was like, ET, because I like listening to ET in the morning. Like, again, dealing with sales, I'm not always inclined to do the repetition of making calls and all that good stuff, so you gotta be motivated sometimes. And like, man, I just remember, like, it's crazy that he has it, obviously the one saying that has stuck with him forever, like, if you want it as bad as you want to breathe, like that right there, like, it has stuck with him. Like, that's the mantra, like, I feel like all the way until now. And then just everything he does, like, I'm a fan of him, Inky Johnson, and just those guys, like, because they really, lay it on to you, raw, honest, and the truth. And then when I watched your video, I was like, man, this is some real life honesty. Like, even you don't got to be a female to relate. You know, like I
Yeah.
was just relating because it was like I love what you was talking about. So how do you
Thank you.
how do you make sure the message sticks? And we'll end it with that. Like when you're a speaker, because I know there's an art to it. It's not just people sometimes up there just rambling and just saying, you know, sometimes it is just
Totally.
what comes to the mind. But there's an art to being a professional speaker and
Yeah.
having certain things to hit home and points to hit. How do you make sure the message sticks or your message gets across?
That's good. So first of all, I always pray before I go anywhere. And I pray for the audience and I pray that God speaks through me. That's first. Second is I always want to start with who I am
Mm-hmm.
and give, just a little background information. Then I go into whatever story from my past that relates to the audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I take them on like an emotional roller coaster, I would say,
Yeah.
right? To really get them drawn in. And then I leave them with, this is what you can do now. So if you were there, these are the steps, right? These are
Yeah.
the steps that you can take in order to get to where you want to be, or to even be better than where you are now. So that's kind of how it's like a
Yeah.
little valley type of thing.
It's
Like I
like
just
you
take them on a journey.
Yeah, it's like you have to captivate the audience, right? You got to make them want to listen first, and it's just
Yep.
like, what are you gonna say to captivate the audience? And then once you got them, it's like, okay, cool. Now I need to give you some type of instruction, some type of follow through, so that when
Yep.
you leave, you don't feel like you didn't, you did, you know what I'm saying? Like you feel like you
Yeah.
got something out of it. Versus like, okay, I got all this emotion, but how do
What do I
I?
do now?
Yeah, how do I disperse this emotion? And like, I wanted to know from you because obviously you do
Yeah.
this for, for a living, and I know it's an art to it and a skill.
Absolutely.
And I try to, like, I know there's an art in everything. So even when you're talking on this podcast, I'm trying to see if there's anything, I know I'm just asking questions, but how you answer questions, how you, articulate the things that you want to get across. I'm like paying attention to that as well. So it's always being a student. So
You're doing a
um,
good job. So
thank you.
I've enjoyed this. I've
Thank you.
enjoyed all of it.
Well, listen, Dr. Kerrie, I don't want to keep you long. If you believe it or not, we've come up on an hour. And I've learned a lot. I learned from the beginning, like, obviously, Dr. Kerrie could have been in the WNBA. Um,
I could have been, but didn't make it.
Dr. Kerrie done changed her life, and just going through the steps and she's transformed her life herself. And really is working on this path of self improvement to this day. And so, what you see right now, what y'all see, is probably years of just self improvement, self empowering. And I know, your husband, has helped you along that way. So, we always have that, help. But man, I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it.
I
Um,
did.
the only
I
thing
did.
I
I had a good
need,
time.
thank you. The only thing we ask is two recommendations, okay? Two recommendations of people that you think is
Okay.
super duper. Somebody that you think, they fit the mold of this podcast and just the purpose of what we're trying to do here. Who do you have, or who would you like to recommend? I know it's tough.
Oh, nah. Actually, I know my people. I know my
Okay,
people.
let's. I know.
Um, One would be Ashley Roberts.
Okay.
She is the CEO of CE Basketball and CE Investments. She's actually going to be one of my panelists for this event I have coming up. Ashley Roberts, she was a former UT player and she's killing the game. Long-term investments, and then she's building a basketball empire with young women. So
Awesome.
that's definitely one person for sure. Oh man, I think the second one, it's so many, but if I was gonna pick another boss,
Listen,
dang,
you can give me anybody. Like, and I say two because I know sometimes people like I know you might have two people on the top of your brain, but I get people that send me at least 5 to 7. Like, hey, you need to look at them, look at them, and we take all
yeah,
of them. We take everybody because my goal is to interview every profession, interview every person that is touchable. You know what I mean? Like, not everybody can touch a
absolutely,
Oprah or a Steve Harvey. So I need kids to understand, like, there's people on their level in their ecosystem that they can touch and they can strive to be like.
absolutely. So I think the other person would definitely be. Her name is Rochelle Horton,
Mm.
and she is with Season of Peace Real Estate. She's a developer. She has short term, long term investments. I mean, she's killing the game. Okay. And both of these women are African American women, and they're gonna be a part of my event, and just her powerhouse women. I've seen their work. I know what they do, and I'm gonna put my name on them. So
let's do it. Let's do it. So all I ask is if you can send me their Instagram, email, however they like to be contacted. You can just send that over through email or through Instagram if that's easier just to send their profiles. Let them know there's a young guy out here in Houston. His name is Armand. Got a podcast. He may ask you to be on it. You can say yes or no.
Big boss talk.
Big boss talk. You know, it doesn't matter. You can say yes or no. It's no pressure. But I would love for you to be able to do that. And then the last thing we need is a closing remark from you. Any type of wisdom, advice that you want to instill in these people before you go. And then we're going to close it just like that. I ain't saying nothing after it. Once you get done, we getting off the live, we getting off the recording, and that's it.
All right. Oh, man. God, there's so much I could say. You just put me on the spot. What's on my heart? I think I would tell someone that no matter how hard life gets, no matter what obstacles you have to face them head on, push through, and at the end of the day, keep getting up, keep dusting yourself off, keep building yourself up. But at the end of the day, believe in yourself so much that every day you wake up, and I'm talking about every day you wake up, no matter how you're feeling, no matter what happened the day before, you keep fighting for the person you're going to be in the future. And if you do that, if you believe in yourself, your life can look completely different in a short amount of time, in a long amount of time. Your life will look completely different, and you will continue to thank yourself each and every day for the fight that's in you, and for the person that you're becoming.
That's it, guys. Dr. Kerrie, you have a good night. I appreciate you so much.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.